my brother, he's pretty sort of cruisy with it, and I think he just decided like I'm not gonna pay it. Like they if they chase me up, they chase me up basically. And then yeah, he did get like some people chucking him some money. So I probably need to follow him up and see if he actually paid it.
Sports fans, we're back for another episode of Moving the Needle podcast. Cheers for all the support on the latest episodes. I'm stoked. It's not often you have a guy that grew up on an avocado farm and then he gets to call himself not just an EDR World Cup winner, but a newly crowned World Cup winner. You know, he's in a pretty small amount of people that have won World Cups. So I'm pretty excited to get chatting to Luke MEIER-Smith. Followed your career. I know you're still young, but you've had definitely quite a colorful career to this date, doing multiple disciplines, coming back from injury. How are we doing, mate? You're in New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, NZ. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, Andrew. I actually really enjoy your podcast. Probably one of my favorite on the MTB sort of scene. So yeah, firstly, thanks a lot for having me on. Um, yeah, enjoying the NZ lifestyle at the moment. Just did Christchurch last week and getting in some training with the team. Got Brad here, and a few of the other boys. So we've been riding Skyline the last few days in Queenstown, and yeah, Rotorua up next as well before down on national champs. So yeah, off season's been going great so far, and yeah, just ticking away really.
Yeah, I was wondering if I would listen to podcasts when I was back competing. There wasn't really much of that, it was like the start of social media, so it didn't really get in your head as much. But now there's so much noise and outside influence, and idiots like me on a couch talking about the racing, what could have been, what should have been, and I wonder if it's good or bad. Like, what part of it do you like, and then what do you need to block out if you're listening to some mountain bike content?
Yeah, I think it's cool just to hear other people's perspective, even in the scene, I guess. Like obviously I know a lot of the sort of riders and racers on the World Cup scene, but just to really deep dive a bit more, I guess. Yeah, I know a lot of people sort of well, but I guess not like super well personally. Like obviously coming from Australia, yeah, a long way from most people, I guess, on the World Cup scene. So I guess just in that sense, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's been spoken about where you come from, probably a small town or farm area. Like, it's pretty nuts now. Do you sort of pinch yourself to think, didn't you have to drive an hour to a BMX track back in the day? And now you're one of the guys that people are going to look to for results, and you've got this win in both categories, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I never really dreamt. Well, I did dream, I guess, of achieving what I have, but yeah, definitely sort of humble upbringing on a avocado farm with my family. Yeah, good mountains, but no real trail network anywhere near where we live. And started off, yeah, with BMX racing, just at the local BMX track about an hour away from where we live. Pretty late as well. I wasn't young, like 11 years old was sort of when I started riding bikes. I guess more, uh, yeah, a lot more than um, I did previously. I used to just do a lot of just normal sports. I played soccer when I was a kid. I did a bit of tennis. I even did karate. um, so it didn't really start off until yeah, sort of 11 years old on the BMX bike, and then yeah, raced BMX racing is pretty. You sort of when you get into BMX, you sort of do the BMX racing, um, and yeah, got into that and raced for probably 4 years till I was like 15, and then sort of jumped on the mountain bike after that. Um, and yeah, it sort of just started from there really. Started doing some national races and that type of thing. Um, into junior World Cups. And just continually progressing. And like you said, I've yeah had a few injuries along the way and stuff like that, setbacks. But sort of yeah have been flourishing the last few years on Giant Factory Off Road team, and yeah, it's super cool to yeah, like you said, from where I come from, in Australia, they're pretty tiny town, rural as well. Little town called Comboyne. I grew up in a school that had like 30 kids, all the way up until I was, yeah, like 11 or 12. I was at that school, and then went to a little bit of a bigger public school after that. So yeah, it's definitely cool.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting upbringing. I mean, I came from a small town, but there's definitely mountains and it's kind of like a mountain bike area now, at least. But for you, I mean, driving that far to a BMX track, starting so late, it is a pretty cool trajectory. But it wasn't very much smooth sailing for you as well in the early part of your career. Injuries and all sorts. Like, didn't you have some doubts like you were even gonna carry on pursuing this dream?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely yeah, a little bit rough. My first junior year was all right. Like, my parents getting me over to race a couple races. I think I did 4 or 5. Um and yeah, managed to get some decent results. I think I got like 2 ninths, a seventh, and then at the last race got a second. Um and I was sort of talking with Propane through that year. And they were sort of helping me out. We just sort of went over to them when we had some mechanic issues, really, with my bike. Um, so they were nice enough to actually give me a bike mid-season. And then it wasn't really looking like I was going to get on the team. And then I sort of pulled through with a second at the last race and sort of jumped on the squad there, which was cool. But yeah, it was definitely a bit rough the following year. Like, it was COVID year, so second year junior. Um, it was the sort of abbreviated short season with COVID, like 4 rounds in 2 weeks. And I ended up breaking my knuckle at the first race, so didn't race any World Cups that year. Um, and then sort of following that into elites, I think I got a maybe 1 or 2 top 20s the following year, and then injured myself again, dislocating my shoulder. So yeah, definitely had quite a few setbacks in the early days. Before I even was junior, I broke my femur when I was like 16 or 17. That was uh, it was almost over before it all started, really, with that as well. Um, so yeah, definitely some setbacks along the way, as you would know as well with the sport, but soldiered on and yeah, never gave up, and then to now be yeah, racing for Giant, and it's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier to deal with some setbacks mentally when you're a little bit more experienced. I think physically, and it's like less trauma when you're younger, I guess, to bounce back. But I think mentally to just understand it, that it's part of the sport, must have been pretty tough as a youngster. Did your parents help with that? Like, how do you think you got through that?
Yeah, I think so. It was yeah, definitely mentally it was definitely uh gnarly. Like, I had, yeah, when I before I was even junior, I broke my arm, broke my wrist, and then broke my femur all within like 1 year. And it was pretty much like, yeah, do I give up on this, or do I keep going? Like, is it worth like all these injuries and um setbacks? But yeah, I sort of thought to myself, what am I going to do if I'm not doing this and pursuing my dream, I guess. And um I think it shaped me as a person, as well, like, after even though the femur was, really gnarly, I sort of lit a fire under me a little bit to really yeah, keep going and work hard and um train hard like I always do. I love to train. um and yeah, just try and become the best version of myself on the bike, and um yeah, it worked out.
Certainly did. I definitely some similarities. I definitely enjoyed like the training part, the working hard. Like when you see those things pay off, it is pretty cool. Like it's almost like a drug. Like, oh, if I'm training hard, I'm
Yeah.
doing well, so then I want to train harder. But there's obviously that fine balance between being too serious, training hard, because there are going to be ups and downs and, burnout. Burnout can certainly happen. So when did you know that you could maybe make it, or like, okay, you're gonna have this dream? Like, For me, I went to World Champs when I was younger. I luckily got to go when I was 15 because it was Olympic year. So I went and saw these pros in Spain like really early, and it just kind of like the bug, it got me. I was like, oh my goodness, you can make a career out of this. Like, when did you know it is a career option, and then when did you think, maybe I have the talent to do this? Like, do you remember a moment?
Yeah, I think obviously I did it right as a junior, but it wasn't anything sort of special even with the like versing myself against the elites. I think probably like my first or second year elite, when I did get sort of one or two top 20s, and sort of legit top 20s, I sort of knew, I guess, that it was possible that I could sort of be there. And then obviously having those injuries was, yeah, I was set back with the injuries, but I think probably around then, like first couple years of junior, sorry, elite. Um, but yeah, I didn't really, I guess, see it through until it really happened. Tried to keep myself, um, yeah, working hard and training and doing the best I could, and um, yeah, not really focusing on a result, but more focusing on how I can execute, my best run and what will be what will be type of thing, and yeah, it's worked out.
Who helped you with that mindset?
um, I actually mostly myself, really, just from learning. But I did do a little bit of mental coaching last year. But honestly, I haven't really had any more than that. Like I did like a month or so with someone in Oz. But yeah, I think for me at the end of the day, it's like um, it's our sport's different in the sense of like it's not a team sport where you're battling with everyone else, say like soccer or rugby or whatever. It's just you against the clock. So really just trying to obviously like look at what other people are doing and stuff, but not get caught up so much uh in the result. Obviously you want to get a result, but I guess yeah, what will be is what will be, and as long as you're giving your best every time you're at the start line, I guess um that's always gonna yeah work in your favor, I guess.
Yeah, it is unique like that. It's tough not to look over to other people doing well, but at the end of the day, it's you versus that track. Like if you get your
Yeah,
best
yeah,
run and you
100%.
get seventh, then you've been beaten. That just is what it is. But it's so hard to
Yeah.
not look over to the other pits and the other guys. Like, what are they doing? How are they training? What are they doing with their bike? Like, it's very difficult. I guess you look outside when things are going worse, then it's easy to look everywhere else. Like, oh, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? Yeah, it's super interesting like that.
Mm. Yeah, I think too when you like when you think you've put a good run in and then you say off the back and you're just sort of like, well, you didn't even have any mistakes or anything like that, and you're like, well, that was like the best I could do, and then you're sort of like looking at your cards, going like, well, that was all of my cards, and it wasn't good enough. So sometimes you got to definitely go back to the drawing board.
Dude, that's the
um,
worst feeling, isn't it? When you're like, no excuses for this one. I was off the back. That is tough.
yeah,
Like you'd rather have pace and make a stupid area with a crash or something. I guess that hurts your confidence less, when you're like, shit, I was a bit off the
yeah,
back,
hundred
and I
percent.
felt like I put everything in or prepared well. I mean, that is what makes it demoralizing for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Your parents still own the farm that you grew up on.
Yeah,
Like, are they still
yeah,
living
yeah.
there
So still
and farming?
spend. Yeah, yeah. So
That's cool.
I actually was just on the phone to them before. Still at the farm. Dad's tinkering away, sort of like pulling back a little bit on this whole avocado thing slowly. I try and give him as much help as I can, or not as much anymore. But when I was younger, did a lot of avocado picking for him, and yeah, still at the farm. I spend quite a lot of time there. Still, it's sort of still my home, and yeah, go back there every sort of off season. Spend as much time as I can with the family. And yeah, it's cool. It's yeah, pretty rural, and there's definitely not a lot going on, I guess, other than sort of the farm in the area. Like it's 20-30 minute drive to sort of a bigger town, and then this like Comboyne itself is like 10 minutes up the road, but it's a few hundred people living in Comboyne. So yeah, just sort of quiet rural area, and rolling sort of plains, quite a lot of farms with cows and stuff, dairy farms, that type of thing.
Probably helps you sort of reset and get away from like a long season. Like if you go back there, like there's not a lot of people and you're kind of away from the industry. Versus if you say you're based in Queenstown or somewhere where like the frothers are still biking and like when you're coming riding, like you get to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
a bit of a break. I quite like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's quite good in that sense. And I do a bit of surfing as well. My dad's an avid surfer. Well, he hasn't actually surfed in a while
Are there
due to his
waves
back,
close
but
close by?
yeah, or sort of probably 30 or so minutes, 35 minutes down the road's like the closest beach. So yeah, pretty close to the sea. And yeah, my brother loves surfing as well, and sort of usually spend at least a month around or so, just sort of yeah off the bike, doing a bit of surfing and other things. So it's definitely a good reset.
How's your surfing compared to Jack Moore? He seems like he's pretty good.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't say I'm quite as good as Moya, but I'm fairly decent. Yeah, I'd probably say I'm.
So you can hang.
Yeah, not to be cocky, but I'd like to think I'd be, I don't know, somewhere in the top 5 or 10 at least for the mountain bike boys.
Uh, we should have like a surfer, and you golf as well. We could have like the trifecta.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my golf game still needs more work.
I don't know. I thought the swing looked
Yeah.
alright.
Yeah, I mean, it comes and goes.
Oh, dude, I was just caddying at a pro tournament. It comes and goes for those guys as well, my man. Don't be too
Yeah,
hard on
yeah,
yourself. They're all searching and golf psychos like us. So no, it looked like you got a good strong face, good face control through the ball. I
yeah.
like it.
No, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, it's yeah, trying to play as much golf I can. Yeah, it's so funny because it's in theory it's such a simple thing, like you're just trying to swing and hit a ball, but like there's so many variables that come into play, and it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, if you think about how complicated racing downhill down a hill sounds versus hitting a stationary ball, like the
Yeah, yeah,
stationary ball part sport should be simpler to be consistent, you would think. But I would say
yeah,
biking is way more easy to be consistent. Like when do you ever wake up and be like, I can't get down this hill? Like I'm just not gonna ride today.
yeah, yeah,
Even at an
yeah,
amateur level,
literally.
once you're like a stable level in mountain biking, you can trickle along. But yeah, dude, it's a good game to humble you, take your mind off biking. That's kind of how I got sucked in the off season. You can't really
Yeah, same
think
here.
about anything else. So it is a cool distraction. I like it. A lot of the guys are playing. That's pretty cool for
Mm,
sure. Right, taking a quick break to talk about a tool that's become a bit of a factory setup for my digital life, NordVPN. I'm constantly on the move, whether it's traveling for races or working remotely, and I realize that keeping your private time private is essential. I use NordVPN every single day because it acts like a high-end bash guard for your data. It keeps your information encrypted, so you never have to worry about your IP or location getting out while you're on those sketchy airport or hotel Wi-Fis. But for me, the real performance gain is how it handles my subscriptions. There's nothing worse than being away from home and realizing you can't access the racing coverage or video platforms you actually pay for back home. With NordVPN, you can virtually change your IP location with one click. It allows me to access my paid subscriptions from my home country even when I'm halfway across the world for a World Cup. You can even use it to find better deals on flights or bike gear by looking at prices in other regions. They've also doubled down on safety with their threat protection feature. It blocks those intrusive website ads and even scans for malware, deleting infected files before they can make a mess of your computer. The deal? Grab exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/needle. You'll get a huge discount off your plan, plus 4 additional months on top. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Give it a try. If it's not for you, they'll issue a refund and you can pretend it never happened. Check the link in the show notes and let's get back to the episode. Have you guys you've been in Tasmania a bit in some off seasons, right? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, so spent a bit of time in Tassie. It's my parents actually bought a house 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even further back, but I actually bought it off them last year. Um, and yeah, sort of spent my last 2 or 3 off seasons there. Usually do like a month or so, training with my mate Ryan Gilchrist. He comes down as well, and it's sort of almost the best we have, or at least for a bike park, the best riding we have on the gravity side of things in Australia. So it's definitely cool to base myself there, and not really much going on there either. So you pretty much just wake up, ride, train, um, eat, and go to bed, and do the same thing the next day. So yeah, it's pretty cool in that sense, and definitely enjoy my time down there. It's a pretty cool area as well.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fairly remote to get to, but it looks pimp when you're there. I mean, how was Hardline this year?
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. Definitely scary first time. The first 2 days, Ryan was doing it with me as well, so it was cool to have him, and we were pretty full of adrenaline the first 2 days, not really sleeping that great, knowing we were gonna be hitting the biggest jumps of our lives when we woke up. So, but no, it was after getting a few reps in of the jumps, got my confidence up, and it was pretty smooth sailing for the most part. Definitely hard to judge your speed with how big the jumps are. Like such small changes in like little squash or little push through would make like such a big difference when the jumps are that big. So definitely a few sketchy moments. Almost came up short a couple times on a few, getting a bit greedy with the sort of push through. But no, super cool experience, and had Troy and Connor sort of letting us jump on the wheel and tick off the features with them. So it's a pretty cool environment in that sense. Like everyone's in it together. You know, as much as we're racing each other, it's a super gnarly track, and we all work down the track together, and tick it all off, and then you sort of put a run together. I unfortunately crashed in the quali, which ended up being the race, but was happy enough with my riding, and was sort of on for like, it was looking like a fourth place probably. So yeah, super cool experience, and if they have it there again next year, I think the contract's up. Definitely be keen to do it again, and maybe some other Hardlines in the future. We'll see, but yeah, Wales is sort of mid-season, so it's a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, I was impressed to see more of you guys go out there. Obviously, maybe watching the first year or two and going like, okay, it's doable. There's not too many guys getting carted off like the first few years of Wales. It was probably a bit risky in a season, but I liked what they did, and I think they adapted the jumps pretty well for a race environment, because I've obviously done Darkfest, and I know, unfortunately, it bit me hard last year now, where it was like the 20th run of that session, but a little bit of downdraft, and sometimes you don't even feel it's there. But once you take off the lip, it certainly surprises you, and you can, like, half a kilometer of wind can, you're going to overshoot by 3-4 bike lengths. So I was really impressed how you guys are handling that in the race situation, because Darkfest you can just go, well, I'm not riding, it's just a little bit inconsistent. But in a race environment, well, obviously not when it's raining, that's not going to work, as we saw. But what was that the most challenging part, is judging your speed in like a race environment? And then what was the scariest feature for you, those jumps at the bottom, or just some of those drops up top? Like what was keeping you up at night? I would guess like the long jumps, because the margin of error is a bit tough.
Yeah, 100% agree with what you're saying there. It's yeah, definitely hard like you were saying, I think when you're going, 70, 80 k's an hour, say you drop down to say 70 or 75, between like that and 80, the feeling isn't like super different, I guess, than when you're going from say like 20 to 45 or something. Um, so there was a bit of wind on, I think, the second or third practice day. And I was literally hitting the bottom jumps, and I'd like do one of the shark fins, and I'd be in the air off the shark fin, looking at the windsock to like see what it was doing and like make my decision if I was gonna like go for the jump or not.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, definitely gnarly in that sense. I think the scariest jumps for me, or jump, I definitely struggled a little bit with like the um up the top, the you got like the sort of top rock or slab drop, and then the sort of long and low log jump, like the first two big jumps of the track. It was sort of funny to judge your speed for that second one. Um yeah, quite sort of blind, like landing. All you could see was like the face of the log. Um and then just, yeah, sort of pretty short. Like you could go pretty deep, or um pretty short, like if you didn't judge it right with sort of how the landing was shaped. So I struggled a little bit with that one. Came up short and took out the R on the Red Bull sign on one lap. But luckily it was luckily it was all good. And then yeah, probably the last jump was quite hard to judge as well. Like once you were at the bottom, before heading up the lip, like all you could see was just the lip, and you were just like, okay, I got the speed or I don't, and you'd just be sort of like set on, or I'm gonna just sort of stand into it or give it a little squash. But it was like the biggest jump, and um, definitely probably the hardest to get consistently and judge your speed. And it was probably the most affected by, I guess, the wind. Like the jumps before, like the creek gap and the road gap and all that, were relatively protected. So you couldn't go too wrong with those. But that sort of final jump was probably the most struggle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool to see the bigger jumps in race courses, and I'm all for that. I just now know from experience, like, dude, the bigger the jumps, the more the variables of the weather play such a big role. So you gotta almost build like some safety jumps if the weather comes in, you know. Um, but it's cool
Yeah.
to see, and I think you can build big safe jumps depending on the wind direction and stuff like that. Absolutely, you can. Like, it's incredible what you guys are able to do while racing. Like I said, for us, I say us, I just joined the guys a little bit, but like it's so funny because you got the whole day to do it. You guys have like a little bit of a time window. So rad to see that you're doing that. I think Wales is really awesome as well. It looks like they've kind of got a good setup that's big. It looks gnarly, but it looks more consistent as well. So I like what that series is doing for sure. And there were some big names at this Christchurch race. I just caught some of the highlights and the results. Like Bruni and Finn were there, right? They're doing a bit of preseason as well, clearly going into Road to Ruhr.
Yeah, it was that was a cool race. It was affected a bit by the weather. So the track we were meant to race basically got like half washed away with they had a few downfalls, I think, of 100, 200 mil in like yeah, consecutively over a day or two. And sort of the top half of the track, or what was meant to be the track, got washed away. So they had to revert us to like this sort of different top section, which turned out pretty good. I think it made it a little bit more physical, sort of connecting back. There was a little bit of a traverse and then into the bottom jumps. The bottom jumps were always going to be there, but we had quite a bit of wind on race day. So it was sort of a bit hit and miss whether you got bad wind or not. Um, but yeah, I was enjoying the track, and yeah, I was stoked to come away with the win. I think I probably inspired some of the boys to get on the trainers a bit harder maybe after after the bottom pedal section.
Did you smoke the
But
guys
yeah,
in the
yeah, I
pedal?
think I put a few seconds. Yeah, put a few seconds into the boys on the pedal. I was talking to Finn the other day, and he was talking to his trainer. Um, and his trainer was saying, "Oh, don't worry." And then he's like, "What do you mean?" Like, um, I got smoked. So no, that was cool, and I think I've sort of always known that physicality's been my strength, coming from, uh, yeah, obviously training really hard in general and racing, some enduros, and that type of thing. I think's helped me as well. Um, but yeah, really happy with my form, I guess, at the moment, and how my off season's going, and it was a good race.
Yeah, no, it's cool to see you guys getting some reps, and it's nice when there's some big names. And obviously, it's different to a World Cup, right? Like you've got this national title at home, couple of years running, and it's a little different at a World Cup depending on the track, or some riders are able to lift their game. Like you've taken down Troy there, but then at a World Cup, it just is a little bit different, right? But I think as time goes on, well, I mean, you're a World Cup winner now, so. What's that feeling like? Is that spurred you on? Is there a bit of weight on your shoulders now? Like, what is it like to have done that?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's a weight off my shoulders. I guess that's what I've always um, worked to achieve, and um, yeah, it was definitely a bit of a surprise last year. Like I wasn't really ready to win, I guess. With the season I was having, and a little bit up and down, and was sort of struggling a bit to really find that sort of next gear to get up there a bit more. And then it all sort of just clicked. We've made a few changes in Lenzerheide, which really helped. And then into Lake Placid, it was a bit more of a, I guess, Australian style track, a bit flatter, where you sort of had to really work for your speed, not just let gravity do all the work for you, I guess. So I think that played into my strength. And then, yeah, had a bit of a physical bottom section, like pumpy, a little bit of pedaling. Um, so I guess it, yeah, sort of played into my hand, and it was, yeah, such a crazy day, really. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting to win. Especially like my previous best result being like a sixth. I was like, to just be straight to the top was yeah, such an insane achievement, and um yeah, couldn't be happier to pull it off, especially for Giant as well. uh I think 23 years since they won a World Cup or something like that. So crazy.
Yeah, I did that stat. It was going around, like someone got it wrong, then right. Like I don't know who was the
Yeah,
last one. Like I remember doing it in the review pod, and then there was also a Tomac that did it for Giant, but it was on an intense frame.
yeah, I
And so
saw that. Yeah.
there was that going around. No, it was cool to see. So you didn't expect it all. What did you qualify?
I qualified second.
Okay, but then at that point you must have known it could be on though.
Yeah, I think so. But I guess I qualified quite well in Lenzerheide. Like I qualified third as well, ended up 10th. Went a bit quicker than my quali, but just didn't find quite as much time as the other boys. And then I guess, yeah, qualifying second in Lake Placid, I was sort of like, okay, this is good, and maybe I'd be stoked, top five podium. But I think to just, yeah, go straight to the top, it was like, yeah, it was insane. I, yeah, can't really put into words like all the emotions, all the hard work, setbacks, um, yeah, good times, bad times. Yeah, I was in tears.
I can
um,
imagine.
and yeah, just to see all the other riders really stoked for me as well. That was super cool. Like Troy came up to me, gave me a big hug, and I just burst into tears after that. So yeah, it was, yeah, super cool for myself and also for the team, and yeah, super special.
Yeah, man. And I've got a close source that said that you might have changed your caffeine routine prior to the race. Can we just speak about
Yeah, that's true.
your former routine and then what your new routine was like for this race that clearly worked?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, that one. Yeah, was experimenting all the last few years really, doing like a shot or double shot before my race runs. You're like, yeah, 45 minutes before my race run, like just before I start my sort of warm up. So then the caffeine's, peaking right before my run. Um, and honestly, over the last year or two, like just drinking coffee, like I never really feel that great after it. Like I think I'm quite a sort of sprung person in general, so it almost felt like it just, yeah, make me more stressed and like too amped up.
Yeah,
Um,
I can
so
relate.
I decided to go off the coffee for that was the first time in Lake Placid, and I remember yeah, the track was like pretty blown out at the top, and I remember sitting in the gate, just like the calmest I'd felt like all year, like ready for the race run, but just I guess yeah, way calmer and more relaxed, and I think it just helped me stay smooth and execute how I wanted to and not override things. Um, Obviously it's a fine line, but um, I remember my dad actually sent me a text a few hours before the race run, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something like same thing as yesterday, like just stay smooth, don't override it or something like that, and sort of had that in my head at the top, and I knew the top was getting like quite blown out. Um, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna like try and just stay super smooth at the top, and then once I get to like the second split, I'm just gonna like give it hell basically from there. And yeah, it worked out. I think I was point 0.2 at the first split, so I was like still green, but like it was close. Then I got to the second, and it was like point 0.2, point 0.4, and then just started hammering from there. And I think where I made the difference was there was a couple little sections where if you go back and watch, um, actually after the second split, I was pedaling like further than most people were. So I was carrying like more speed into that next section, and then into like the Red Bull Arch, where I think the third split was, or roundabouts, um, was going through that like pedaling as much as I could, basically biggest gear, or I think it wasn't the biggest gear, and then pedaling like right off the lip of that next jump, just to carry like as much speed as I could. Um, and then yeah, just hammering all the way down. Um, and then I was pretty strong in the sort of uh last section before the motorway. Like I was um patient with my braking before like the last sort of bit where you let off and don't brake at all. So like early on the brakes, then got off and sort of like pre-hopped off the sort of rock shelf where that little waterfall was, and then just like picked my line for that next bit, um, and just yeah carried like pretty good speed out, and I think I ended up having like I think I was 1.2 up at the last split, before the last section, and then actually lost a little bit in the last sector. Um, my legs felt a little bit dead actually, um, from all the hard work, and I think the day before I went pretty hard, obviously on the pedals, um, but then held on to come through 0.77 up on Henry. So um, yeah, and I remember talking to the finish line, and just like I think some riders like to look up and see how they're going, but I was just like in the aero, like head down, and I remember hearing like the crowd roaring, and like it was a good run, but I didn't think it was like a winning run, and um, yeah, the crowd started roaring, and I'm just like talking, but I'm just like, there's no way, like surely I'm not even close. Cross the line, I'm like into the lead, and it's just Yeah, the crowd erupts. Most insane feeling.
Dude, I
For sure.
I can only imagine. I can't say that I'm in your group of people who won a World Cup, but luckily I won a race or two to know that feeling. It's just like it's just bigger if it's a World Cup. That's and like on the
Yeah.
run. Did you know, like, were there any conscious thoughts, like, I'm on a good one, keep pushing, or was it just flow state? Like, do you recall now? Because I know obviously you've rewatched it and you got all the splits, but I'm just wondering if you knew, like, hey, I'm on one, keep going, or if you were just like, it's all a blur and a flow state type thing.
Yeah, I think it wasn't complete flow state. Like I have had some runs where it's like pretty just all flow state. I think I had one or two small mistakes and it sort of like broke me out and I had some thoughts. I think if on that track too there's like, some motorway sections so you sort of can think if you let your
Yeah, you
brain
like self motivate yourself on
do
those
it.
pedally sections, hey? Like, I'm thinking back like in Maritzburg, I was like, I was definitely talking to myself, like, saying some
Yeah.
rude words like, don't be a XYZ, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I came through the Red Bull Arch section, like pedaled through there, and then I was tucking in there and like was starting to feel like a bit of fatigue and I was like I think I just said like, come on, like, last sort of section and then was pretty flow state from there. So yeah, I think a little bit in and out, but not complete flow state. Um and I think watching Luca, he was without those mistakes at the top, like he was the fastest rider. Um like that day, but sort of threw it away at the top. So like, yeah, I didn't really think it was like going to be the winning run. So, um, and then seeing Luca, he had some speed, as well. So, um, but yeah, to pull it off, it was just, um, yeah, crazy emotions. That's for sure.
And then your brother come running through the finish line. I love that. And then did he get the fine? Like, did you guys have to pay one? I feel like I don't know. I don't remember. I thought we were going to crowdsource to get your fine paid, but whatever happened out of that?
Yeah.
Like, there was an actual fine. Did you guys get an email? Like, what actually happened and how did it end?
Yeah, he did get a fine. But honestly, my brother being my brother, he's pretty sort of cruisy with it, and I think he just decided like I'm not gonna pay it. Like that if they chase me up, they chase me up basically. And then yeah, he did get like some people chucking him some money. So I probably need to follow him up and see if he actually paid it. But I think he was a bit like, no, I'm not paying this. So um,
Maybe he made
but
some
yeah,
profit
crazy.
out of doing I mean,
Yeah,
he gave us entertainment. I mean, I understand rules, but
yeah,
at the same
literally.
time, like it's not like he influenced any other rider on track. Obviously we don't want it happening all the time, but like it's
Yeah.
your brother after all. That's what made the internet go a bit viral on it. I thought it was such a cool
Yeah,
moment. To
literally.
have your brother come into the finish line when you've, taken over the hot seat, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it was really cool. He was actually up the top before my race run. Um Gave me a hug before like 10 or 15 minutes before I was dropping in and um it was actually a surprise to see him down there. So like I crossed the line and thinking like cuz he was at the top and I'm like how are you here? Like he just like came out of nowhere. Um yeah, super special moment with him. He's sort of seen it all, I guess, along the way, and um, yeah, he was super emotional as well, and um, yeah, it was definitely a shame for the UCI to fine him, but uh, it was 100% worth it for the moment, and yeah, it was super special to share that with him.
Yeah, so cool, man. So what was the rest of the afternoon, evening like? And then second part, do you remember the next morning waking up? Like, what was that feeling like? Take us to that.
Yeah, it was sort of a pretty cruisy afternoon. I think I had a drink or two. I don't really drink much alcohol, so um, just sort of celebrated with the team. We had some pizza, or a lot of pizza. um, we actually had a pretty nice sort of lake spot on the water. Um, Went out on the kayaks with the boys. Like pretty nice sort of sunset afternoon, and just soaked it all in really. And then yeah, it was yeah, pretty surreal waking up the next day. Like I guess I didn't really. It was actually the next few days after I didn't actually sleep that great. I think just because I was, on the high of sort of winning, and um, yeah, just didn't come down from it for a second. So, um, yeah, definitely took some time to sink in. Like I didn't really believe, didn't believe it for a while, and um, yeah, crazy.
Dude, so crazy, man. But your Mount St. Anne went well, right? Like you carried the momentum. I was checking some results. Like that went really well as well. I hope I've got that right.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, yeah, I was finished eighth in the end, so
Yeah, yeah. You backed it up. It's not like you had no energy and like it just was like an anticlimax finishing the season, you know?
yeah. Yeah, literally. I actually one time training, so I was like, okay, like we've got good pace again, and then I qualified fifth, and then yeah, ended up eighth. I had a bit of a mistake in the rock garden, which sort of cost me a bit of time, but um, yeah, I was super stoked to just finish the season strong, and it was pretty crazy because I think I was I should know, but I think it was 19th or 21st in the overall before Lake Placid, and then after I won, I jumped to 13th, and I was like, okay, like if I want to, and my goal for the season was like top 10 overall. So I was like, okay, if I want a top 10, like I really need to, at least get a top five, in MSA, and I ended up eighth, so I was a little bit like, oh, like damn, I'm not gonna get the top 10. Um, but then a few of the boys that were in front of me actually crashed or had some issues in their finals runs. And eighth ended up being enough to finish 10th overall. So that was super special as well. Like I um did a little F yeah in the in the pits when I realized I was top 10. Um so that was, yeah, cool to sort of tick off, I guess, that goal, which is what I was chasing for the 2025 season.
Yeah, well done, man. That's this day and age, top 10 in the World Cup is something special. What's the new format been like for you? You've had a couple of years of it. You went through the transition to the 30 and the semi-final and now the LCQ. What's it like being a youngster? So you didn't really have like a million years of the old format or something.
Yeah, I think it suits me pretty well. It's definitely pretty hectic. Like I guess everyone's just going that much faster in practice nowadays than previous years. Like you don't sort of get the day to sort of like just get a feel for the track, and then go into the next day, and then do quali like top 60 like it was previous. It's more like everyone's looking at time training, like going pretty hard. And if you're like not in the realm in time training, you're like, okay, I've got to bring my A game for the next day. So the pace is definitely increased like from the get go, um, which is definitely gnarly. Um, but then I did pretty well last year, like getting through. I missed one final in Andorra, where I was 31st in Q2, so that stung. But otherwise, I did one Q2 actually in Leogang, got through in third, and then all the other races I was through in Q1. So it sort of was pretty good for me for the most part. I think with Q1 being top 20, like you pretty much just need to, um, yeah, give it the berries. Just yeah, to get the top 20. Like there's no slacking around. It's can be you know 2 or 3 seconds between first and 20th. I think in Andorra it was like I put a pretty smooth run in the Q1, and I was like, oh, I think that would just be enough to get in, and I ended up 23rd, I think it was, and I was 2.3 seconds off winning Q1, and I
Two
was
point,
like,
geez, like
damn,
yeah, I was there. That was pretty crazy. Those time gaps. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the strategy's moved
Yeah, yeah.
on. Like I thought some guys would be able to do like a 95% run to make sure you're through Q1, but that's not the case because you have a small area near the bottom of the track on that pace. Now you're going to Q2. So it's just, as you said, give it the beans the first one. If it doesn't work out, then,
Yeah.
well, the second one's a race run. Yeah, it's certainly progressed your guys. There's no easing into it. It's like you got to have your lines close to set pretty early in practice, and you got to be committed. And the practice is, as much as you got to get up to pace quicker. I seem to think you've got less practice than you used to have as well, which adds to the pressure. Like if you get a flat or you got to decide on lines, like it's pretty tense out there.
Yeah, definitely hectic. I think it's yeah, I think it's just bringing the level up for everyone. It's pretty cool to like yeah, I think yeah, like I was saying, it's pretty much just give it the beans for the Q1 top 20. And I think even the top guys, no one's really able to just do I guess a smooth run 80-90% these days for the top 20 with it being so close and um so yeah, I think it's just go hard from the get go, really. I think, yeah, definitely a little bit less time on track. I think for me, I'm pretty good at sort of getting up to speed fairly quickly with like my enduro uh, sort of past and races that I've done. Um, just with you get one run and then you're racing, so I'm pretty sort of good at getting up to speed after a couple laps. So but yeah, it's definitely different these days.
Yeah, that's a good point. The enduro is a little bit different in the sense that maybe you're not always riding at 100, 110% like downhill, but you made a good point there. You still got to get up to this like maximum speed, will you say, really quickly. And then you
Yeah,
got to then take it to the next notch in downhill. Well, what's that been like for you?
yeah,
Like you just dip in and out those first few years and do really well in enduro. If the sport hadn't lacked the support, because now, it's like lacking the support, it seems, from some of the big teams. Do you think
yeah.
there was a world where you did enduro only? Like what's like more of a passion for you, downhill or enduro? Or is it, well, if you're winning enduro, you would have gone there as well, like Jack did.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely I mean I love both. Like I wouldn't say like I just yeah, I think I just love riding my bike, doing enduro or downhill. And sort of always have ridden, I guess, yeah, the enduro bike, for training and stuff. Um but yeah, I guess it's definitely been a bit more of a struggle to get up there in the downhill field for me. And jumping in on the enduros, I guess, with like I've always sort of had the downhill focus. Um and to sort of yeah jump in on the enduros with not sort of as much specific training or like prep and then do quite well, it was definitely like damn, like I'm on the podium or winning these things without sort of specifically prepping for them um that well in advance. So I was actually last year I was almost going to make the switch to enduro with Giant before they pulled out with the team and all the other teams as well. So that actually was on the cards because I jumped in 2024, did Comblux like literally a week or so before. I was like, oh, I'll just go do it, jump in with the Enduro boys, and ended up coming second. And yeah, really enjoyed myself. And it was, I think at that point, it was like I was, yeah, in struggle straight a little bit with the downhill uh, races. So that was definitely on the cards until, yeah, all the sort of support got pulled.
Do you know what they said about it? Like, what is? I mean, you must have talked to Giant a bit. What if they're pulling out and they were really into it back there? Like, I remember when I was on Giant was some of the earlier years when Josh Carlson was racing enduro. Some of the other guys, like they really did support that side of racing. So for them to pull out, and Yeti's pulled out, I guess as well, if they're doing the downhill team, right? Like that
I
really
think I
said,
think
like,
Yeti
what
is
is?
still there.
Are they still there? Okay, so what is? what does like Giant management tell you? Like, okay, you're going to downhill, but surely they give you an explanation on why they're like, sorry, dude, we can't support this.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a little bit like I think mostly for the brands and teams, just uh I think selling to the sponsors, like no broadcast, uh pretty minimal like media coverage, compared to the downhill, and I guess with Warner Bros really pushing that and that media package. um I guess, yeah, I think that was the main reason. I think also with the changes Warner Bros made, making it okay, like you need to be a top 15 team. um all the teams were then going, crap, like pulling budget from enduro to then get more riders for downhill, get more points, get more staff to then like be in that top 15, top 10 team and have like a secure gig with that. I think that was the main sort of reason why a lot of the teams pulled out, and it sort of collapsed on itself a bit. I mean, obviously it's still going, and there's still a few teams. I think Yeti's still there. Um, maybe Pivot, maybe one other team, but it's, yeah, definitely sad to see. Like I hope it comes back um in the future for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? You almost force some of the team's hands because they wanted to try lock in this gravity positional card. You don't want to always rely on a wild card, even though we've got, we haven't lost that many teams at all in downhill. Like the system, I can see what they're doing. Excuse me, but yeah, I guess the byproduct you just mentioned, like the knock-on effect is maybe then if they don't have enough resources, they then got to pick and choose. Yeah, I wonder what it's tough to broadcast, right? It just is a tough sport to show media. It always will be though,
Yeah.
right? There's like no changing that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they were trying like with the sort of pro stage or broadcasting like the last stage, but it never really came to fruition. And um, yeah, I guess like you said, it's a lot of stages are sort of everywhere on the hillside or over other mountains into other towns even. With it being enduro, um, so I think it was just hard for them to really um yeah, make a media package that worked, I guess. And then yeah, it sort of hasn't come out yet, I guess, with any type of broadcasting with Warner Bros. So be interesting to see what happens, and I definitely hope it comes back. And I definitely think like uh you know further down in my career, I'd love to jump back in on some enduro races, EDR races, and yeah, give them another go for sure.
Yeah, and the challenge is you need the stars, right? You need the names to get even
Yeah.
the industry eyeballs as well as like more than that. Like now, like if you go to one, it's like you've won that series, you've won a World Cup. Like that's a story. Okay, Luke's going to do an EDR. Let's pay attention. Richie Rude, one of the greatest bike riders in our industry, and Martin Mays. But when those guys are switching back, that is, there's warning signs when that starts happening. Because you're like, but I want to watch
Yeah.
Martin. Okay, well he's at down. I'll go watch him there. You know, so that's the challenge that's happening at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. It's yeah, sad to see, but we, yeah, hope for a bounce back for sure.
Are you a bit of a tinker on the downhill bike setup wise? What's because I'm looking at that bike from the outside, I'm like, it looks similar to when I rode the thing. Like it's a similar layout, right? It's Maestro. I used to ride the Maestro. Of course, they've done a lot of work on it, but it's like these marginal kind of tweaks. So talk to me about it. What do you play with? What have you learned? Let's take us into the pits there between you, Remy. Like, how does he set his bike up? What's it like for you?
Yeah, I think in my years past, like I've been pretty set and forget, like back in the propane days. Um, but I think the last few years, or like, yeah, 2025 or into the 2025 seasons especially, and then into this season as well, I've definitely been tinkering a lot more. Um, and really just trying to open all cans, I guess. Cans of worms, you could say. to really just leave nothing on the table that I haven't tried almost. Um, I think in the past, like I've sort of fallen behind or haven't had uh the sort of ideal setup for certain situations and just sort of not known any better, I guess. So definitely learned a lot the last sort of yeah end of last season and then into this off season with the bike. Um, and yeah, it's all been like in a positive direction. Um, Basically just going like quite a lot stiffer with the setup for the most part, with how the Maestro works. Um, has been the main thing. Um, and then fiddling with what else I can. Spoke tension, tire pressure, mass dampers here, there, everywhere. uh, I've got big Joshy, actually, my Australian mechanic, um, who's made a pretty sick like 3D printed, or actually Brad as well, my mechanic Brad Blackwell, from the USA. Both of them have worked together to create this 3D printed plate, which my front mass damper like clamps onto, which is pretty cool. So it doubles up as the plate. And I've even got at the moment my career number imprinted on the front there as well, which is pretty cool. After the win last year, and um, just stuff like that, really.
What for us naive guys that are before mass dampeners and people listening at home, like what's the basic version of what it does for you and what do you feel when it is on your bike?
Yeah, I think for me, it's it's tuned. I mean, there's different brands. So, um, I use the one from Countercycle, and it's tuned to like certain frequency. Most of it is like relatively you could say like fast frequencies. So you get less feedback through the hands. Um, and then also it's mass as well. So the one I run on the front, it's like 550 grams. So I just noticed just the extra weight is just more traction on the tires,
On the small bump,
on the
like do
front
you feel a
tire.
little bit better small bump sensitivity?
Yeah. Yeah, or just like more tracking the ground, and then um less feedback through the hands and like the chatter. And then the one I use from Countercycle also has a dead blow effect. So it has like a like sort of lead spring piece um in the sort of cylinder, and it moves up and down when you hit things. So like if I hit a bump, it throws the weight like the other way. So then it you don't like the fork doesn't come up at you. So like especially at bottom out too. I think they told me it decreases the feeling you get through the hands by like 30 or so percent, basically through that dead blow. Like when you're at bottom out and like hit something really hard. So that as well.
Dude, it's so interesting. Hey, I've just kind of cheekily said the bike looks simple these days. It hasn't progressed, but there's all these small things you guys are doing. So every time I get to World
Yeah,
Cup, I'm floating around the pits. I'm like, that little thing looks different. You got the O chain things, and you got the mass dampers, and all these like tiny little things. That it's just for marginal gains, right?
literally, yeah, 100%.
Okay, we're going forward into the season. So what you got? Road to Rua. That's a big race if some of the foreigners are coming in. I like that one as a preseason if we can get a good field there.
Yeah, 100%. I think looking forward to that one. I think for me, like over the next few weeks, like my main focus is national champs, which is actually the week after Arua. So just using these few weeks to get some like solid training in, good riding with the team and my mechanic Brad. Um, and then obviously race for Arua, but not put too much emphasis on sort of performance. Just have some fun and obviously do my best, but um, full sort of steam ahead for national champs in Mount Buller, sort of mid this month. So um, that's sort of the main focus at the moment, and then into the World Cup season we've got uh, some team testing coming up as well, and then yeah, to Korea, which should be super exciting and new venue. Um, it's going to be a bit of a new world over there, I think. So, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, there's not been much information about it, eh?
Yeah, it's
Have you heard
I was
anything?
hearing no, not really. Like I don't really know what the track's gonna look like or anything like that, but I was hearing that there's no Google Maps, so they have their own maps over there. I even heard rumor that like Instagram and like WhatsApp doesn't work, but I think it does. Um, so yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a bit different for sure than the usual European World Cup.
That's for sure. I've got a potential trip, potentially get there before the World Cup. Anyway, I need to actually make some calls after this to see if we can get it going. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's interesting. It adds to the team budget. So like it's great. It's like you want to go to all these places, you want all the races, and then like the poor managers and and factory teams like we got to figure this out. So but it's cool, man. And Monster, I think coming on board is gonna be different. It's gonna be awesome. Like I think they're pretty fired up about it. So I think that's gonna be cool for the World Cup. I think there'll be more activation. So I think this thing's snowballing in the right direction as well. And all the juniors coming up. So that I didn't get to ask you. Like you got all the juniors coming up. I know you're focusing on yourself, but I mean, does it enter the mind? You're like, okay, some of these guys are going to put some runs together. That's just how it works, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I've for sure, seen the Aarons and Asa coming up. Yeah, I think they're just I just I think for me, I'm just going to assume that they're going to be in the mix, making finals, top 20 Q1. So basically, I've just got to bring my A game even further, I guess, and yeah, execute the best run I can, like usual, and just level up myself really. And yeah, it's only going to make for better racing and a more competitive field, I think. So it's exciting for the sport for sure.
Yeah, it is definitely exciting. I mean, that is the way to do it. It's good to just, like you say, Alec, just expect them to be there, you know? It just is what it is. But you know that coming from junior to elite, no matter if you're having incredible junior results or not, it is a different category. Eh? It's like a different feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's early on it can be easy to sort of get overwhelmed with all your sort of idols around and um Bruni and so on. So I think it probably will take them a couple races to settle in and get the jazz with it, but um I think they know they have good speed, so um, I think they'll settle in pretty nicely for sure.
And what's it like having Remy as a teammate? One of the more experienced riders out there, but also super chill.
Yeah, he's super cool. Yeah, chill guy like you said. Um, yeah, definitely a veteran of the sport nowadays, Remy Tiron. No, I enjoy spending time with him and try and learn as much as I can. He's yeah, the way he goes about his racing is pretty cool to see, and especially now in the later part of his career, to be on a team with him and with his past success and to still be doing so well is super cool to see. And like in Leger last year, fastest qualifier. I think that was his first time in his career that he'd done that. So I think he felt he felt the pressure a bit and unfortunately had a crash in his race run. Um, but yeah, super cool guy and yeah, love being on a team with him and um, yeah, good banter, that's for sure.
Nah, I got so much time for Remy. Yeah, we are all pulling for him. I guess we like to see guys like that do well, especially with the experience. And you've super confident with like your physical side. You love the training. What have you been doing for on the bike time and to say, okay, these are my weaknesses. This is what I want to work on. Like, how are you attacking that?
Yeah, I think for me, um, yeah, my strength, like you said, is like the physicality of things. So I think this off season I've really tried to um, work on. I think for me, almost like slower stuff, more technical. I guess less mainline, less sort of plowing. Um, yeah, steeper. Uh, wet riding as well. Like would say is like a strength of mine. So trying to work on that whenever the weather's bad. Really just uh take advantage of that. And just get out of my comfort zone as much as I can in those areas. And yeah, I think I've made some good improvements this off season. Haven't had a whole lot of wet riding, being in Oz and now New Zealand. Like it's definitely need to get back over to Morzine and hope for some wet weeks in between the World Cups. Um, but yeah, I think that side of things is what I'm trying to work on mostly.
Yeah, it makes sense. And if you grew up on riding that's generating speed, also me in South Africa, I mean, that was natural, right? Like to make ground speed. You can see Greg Minnaar as well on some of the tracks he did well. But yeah, it'll come, man. You just need more experience in those areas, and you seem to be comfortable being away from home for a long time. Like, so you say you'll go to Morzine a little bit in between some of the races.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Haven't looked too far ahead yet, but probably even in the mid-season break. I was over in Canada with the Jewets actually, Dane and Jacob, who are now on the team. That was super cool and super good for my riding. Being over there, riding Whistler, the famous Squamish slabs. Experiencing that stuff was pretty crazy. There's some insane lines over there
In
that some
Squamish,
yeah,
is
yeah,
that trail bike
some
stuff?
lunatic yeah, trail bike stuff. Some definitely, yeah, super gnarly like stuff that you just like standing at the top and you're like, how has someone ridden down this? um but yeah, super cool area. And yeah, big thanks to the Jewett family for letting me come over. So hopefully I can maybe do that again this following this season. Haven't asked them yet, but I seem to be getting along with Dane and Jacob well and still well. So um, yeah, probably do that again as well.
No, I think that's good. It's always good to go and sort of ride with each other. You'll push each other and learn from each other's strengths, you know. I think that's why I
Yep,
gravitated with Brendan, you know. I could keep him honest on the training, and he'd push me in the plenty steeps, that's for sure, you know, out of my comfort zone, as you say.
yep, yeah. That's it. With young Dana coming up as well, it's cool to he's here actually in New Zealand, and riding with him, he's got such yeah, raw skill and ability on the bike. It's pretty cool to see. I think his time's definitely coming. He's gonna have some speed this season. So yeah, just cool to have some sort of kids on the team, I guess, similar to my age as well. Just sort of to yeah, go back and forth with and um do laps really. Sort of, Remy's got his family and stuff, so he's not, coming to Morzine and all that and spending the weeks in between. He's back with his family, so it's definitely been yeah, cool to have the boys on the squad now and riding with them.
Mate, and then there's Whistler World Cup after all these years of rumors and oh, they got to get it's happening. How cool's that?
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. I actually rode the 1199 track at Crankworks. Unfortunately, the event got cancelled, but I got some laps in on the track, and yeah, super cool build the guys have done, and it's gonna be cool to see that race. I think it should bring some yeah, a big crowd, and um, yeah, super good racetrack as it is. So if they make any changes, I can only see them being good. And yeah, looking forward to that one for sure. I think the boys are too, obviously from Canada. So excited for that one.
Yeah, man, this has been fun, dude, and I appreciate you doing it on a different time zone. You got to get some rest and some training reps in, man. All the best for the year. But it was cool that you listened to the pod and reached out. So it was rad to get to know you a little bit more, and that is the reason, as you said, that you maybe listen is to get to know you guys more and bring out these stories, you know, like outside of the helmet and goggles. So thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, literally. Thanks a lot for having me on, Andrew. I really, yeah, appreciate it. It's yeah, cool to be on this podcast, and yeah, surreal to be talking to you, really. And no, it's awesome what you're doing, and yeah, thanks for bringing all the podcasts for us to listen to.
Wicked, man. And to all the listeners out there, go and follow him along. He's definitely a good follow on Instagram. Let's see if he can back up that title before in a row this year, right? Or did I get, was that last year that you
Yeah,
did?
yeah, four in a row. If I do it this year for national champs, so stay tuned for that one in a few weeks.
Yeah, no pressure. Let's see if this is a good omen. I need to start having good omens, then more people will come on. Be like, oh, if I go on the show, I'm gonna achieve my goals, mate. Hey, all the best. It's been really cool to see, and we're all stoked for you, mate. For everyone else, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you definitely subscribe on YouTube so we can bring on more guests like the man from down under. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. Have a good one.